What's up guys, it's jonyfraze. Brazilian retro gaming company GamesCare reached out recently for me to check out their upcoming arcade PCB. It features auto detection for PS3, PS4, PC X input, and Nintendo Switch. It has a built-in SOCD cleaner if you're wiring it up to an all-button style controller. Force mode for PS4 can be enabled by pressing X while connecting it to the console. You can toggle digital and analog modes by pressing start for 5 seconds. And there's touchpad left and right click emulation by holding touchpad paired with a directional input. And it has that familiar USB port, a 20-pin connector, and screw terminals to wire your buttons. Missing are the JST connectors for LEDs, turbo, and touchpad. It's bare bones, but it does the job. What I do like is that they included the L3, touchpad, and R3 connections on the screw terminals instead of having to solder or buy extra JST cables for this functionality. One thing that I noticed was that the GamesCare PCB is slightly larger than current market PCBs. This may cause an issue for existing hole mounts as it may not be a drop-in solution. Now, what makes this PCB interesting is its performance. According to Mr. Addon's Latency document, the GamesCare PCB is rated the fastest PCB in the market with an average latency of 0.739 milliseconds. For example, Brook's Universal board, which also has been rated as one of the fastest PCBs in the market, comes in at 0.767 milliseconds. But let's get this installed into a stick and do some real-life testing.
So I set up a little test using my arcade cabs over here. We have the GamesCare board hooked up on the right side, and as you can see, that's controlling Blue Ryu. We have the Universal board from Brook hooked up on this side, and that's controlling White Ryu. I have this crown micro switch button wired to the GamesCare board and the Brook board over here. So if I press the button, we should get the same input at the same exact time on both boards. Okay? The monitor that we're using is 144 Hertz, and we are just using a stock plain Jane PS4 inside the cab, HDMI split for this setup. So we're just gonna test to see which input comes out first. We're gonna look at these indicators, and we can also look at the animation. I'm gonna be filming this screen right over here with my iPhone 12 Pro on slow motion at 240 frames per second. And we're just gonna see which one is the fastest just based on that. It's a super rudimentary test, but honestly, sometimes these simple tests can show you a lot. It definitely already was measured at a high level, as you guys saw. So we'll see. What do you guys think is gonna win?
Okay, so we're in the first set of footage, and I have the Brook Universal board as White Ryu over here, and then we have the GamesCare board as Blue Ryu on the second player side. Now, I am in QuickTime Player on Mac OS. The reason why I like using this tool is because if you use the left and right arrow keys, you can actually advance one frame at a time. So this was shot again at 240 frames per second, and we can actually, toggle right through. So I'm pressing left and right as we speak, boom, so that's left to go back, and then right to go forward, and you'll see either the blur of the animation about to start, or I think this is actually more precise, is to watch for the, the button input indicator right here. As you can see, this is the first input. I did this 10 times, and then I switched sides to the second player side. So the first one, completely even. Now we're at the second frame. I'm gonna hit advance. Whoa, look at this. We have an input on the left side on the Universal board, and let me hit the next frame to advance. It's still there. Still there. Still there. So about 4 taps it took for the GamesCare to register its input. And remember, this is wired to the same button. Okay? We'll let that go. And as you can see, look at this. In this animation, the GamesCare board is actually a little bit slower. Ryu's fist is already out on the left side. Okay, so we're gonna keep doing this, all right? Input 3, about the same. All right, we're on to the next video. Basically what I did was I put the GamesCare board on the one player side now and the Universal board on the other side, just to double check and to get a little bit more of a sample. Input 1, let's see how this goes. Okay, the same. Input 2 is the same. Input 3 is the same. Input 4. Oh, wait a minute here. We got one on the Brook side. See that? Still going. And boom. Okay. So on PS4, it's looking like Brook is actually up by 2.
I already know you guys want to know how it performs on PC. So here we go. USB cable is strung along to the cabs. And if you take a look on the screen, I'm moving this joystick over here, which represents the GamesCare board, and Ryu's moving in the background over there. And then same thing with the universal board over here. See that? And you can see white Ryu moving. Okay, so I basically just used the controller section and plugged it into my PC. Okay, couple differences regarding the setup. These guys are 144 Hertz. This is actually a faster monitor at 240 Hertz. And then, just to make things even, I have the USB ports clocking both at 1000 Hertz. So these guys are on an even playing field. All right, let's do this test on PC.
Just to save you guys a little bit of time on the video, I did the same exact test on the PC side and it was completely even through 20 inputs. As you can see, my testing slightly differed from the Mr. Add-ons measurements, and I found the UFB slightly edging out the GamesCare on console. However, they were dead even on PC. So performance may vary between systems, but the GamesCare arcade board is definitely no slouch. At the end of the day, it's just nice to have another PCB option for arcade stick builders. GamesCare is working on producing more of these boards, making a firmware updater tool, as well as setting up distribution in the US for all their products. They're also working on PS5 compatibility, and the price is to be determined. But let me know in the comments what you think about this new PCB option and whether you plan on picking it up in the future. Once again, this is jonyfraze. Thank you for tuning in. If you liked the video, make sure to leave a thumbs up and make sure to subscribe if you want to see more arcade stick related content, and I'll catch you guys on the next one. Peace.